So, you've heard these words thrown around, right? Internet, intranet, and extranet. They sound so similar you could almost use them interchangeably, but they're actually three completely different pieces of our digital puzzle. So what's the real difference, and why should you even care? Well, let's break it down.
Just think about a typical day. You're scrolling through YouTube, then you log into your company's private portal to check on a project, and later that day, a supplier securely logs in to check your inventory levels. That's three totally different online actions, and each one happens on a very different type of network. Let's start with the one we all know and love.
First up, the internet. This is the big one. The best way to think about it is like a giant global public square. Anybody can wander in, look around, chat with people. It's completely open to everyone.
And really, the two words to remember here are global and public. It's this massive worldwide web of computers all talking to each other. Anyone with a connection can hop on. And what's really cool is that no single person or company actually owns it. It's this amazing, decentralized thing. So how does it all work without falling apart? Well, it's all built on a few core ideas. It's public, it connects millions of smaller networks together, and, most importantly, it uses a standard language or protocol called TCP/IP. That's what lets all these different computers actually understand each other. It's the universal translator that makes everything from websites to email even possible.
To put it super simply, anytime you're doing things like watching YouTube, shooting off an email, or just browsing Google, you are on the internet. You're out there in that big global public square.
Okay, so if the internet is the public square, what's the complete opposite? Well, that would be the intranet. So think less of a public park and more like a private, secure office building. It's all happening inside the walls, and you absolutely need a key to get in.
Yeah, the whole idea here is exclusivity. An intranet is a walled garden, and it's only for people inside a specific organization, like your job or your university. You have to have a special login to get past the front gate.
And its whole reason for being is to make work easier and safer, but only for the people inside that organization. It's the central spot for sharing internal documents, getting company updates, working on projects, and it's all protected from the outside world by things like firewalls.
You know, a lot of us have used these without even really thinking about what they're called. That university portal where you check your grades, or the employee dashboard where you see company announcements and your pay stubs. Yep, that's an intranet. It's the company's own private corner of the digital universe. All right, so we've got the public square, the internet, and we've got the private headquarters, the intranet. But what happens when you need to let a trusted partner into, say, just one specific room in your headquarters, but no further? That's where our third network, the extranet, comes into play. It's like a secure bridge or a VIP entrance.
So an extranet is basically a super secure, controlled bridge. It takes a little piece of your private intranet and makes it available to very specific, authorized people from the outside. So it's not open to the public, but it's not strictly for employees either. It's a private network that's shared between organizations.
The whole goal here is secure collaboration. You want different companies to be able to work together, but you only want to share exactly what they need to see, and nothing more. That's why security on an extranet is a huge deal. We're talking encrypted connections and really strict logins to make sure only the right people are accessing the right data. This example is perfect. A big car company doesn't want its thousands of dealers to have access to its entire internal system, right? Of course not. But it does need them to see the parts catalog and place orders. So an extranet creates that secure, limited little portal just for them to do exactly that. Okay, we've defined all three. Now for the really satisfying part. Let's put them all side by side. This is where those differences are going to pop, and everything will just click into place.
So, at the most basic fundamental level, the difference is just incredibly simple. The internet is public. The intranet is private. One is wide open for everyone, the other is for employees only. But where does the extranet fit in?
This table lays it all out beautifully. Look at that access row. You go from public to private to a kind of shared private network. The users row follows that exact same logic, from anyone to just employees, to employees plus their trusted partners. But look at the security row. It's highest on the extranet. And that makes total sense, right? You're letting outsiders into a part of your house, so you're going to use the strongest locks you have. And if you need a super simple way to lock this in your brain, this is it. The internet connects everyone. The intranet connects employees. And the extranet connects partners. That is the whole shebang right there in a nutshell. So, what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, these three networks, the Internet, the Intranet, and the Extranet, they're really the fundamental building blocks of our digital lives. They all use similar technology, but they play by completely different rules of access. One connects the entire world, one connects a single organization, and one connects trusted partners.
And that leads us to one last really interesting thought. You know, with things like remote work and cloud computing becoming the norm, those old walls between the public square and the private office are already starting to get a little blurry. It really makes you wonder, as our world gets even more connected, what's the next evolution of these networks going to look like? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.